Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to LodePay Media. As always, if this is your first time joining us, please head over to lodepay.com to learn about the project and how the power of modern gold and silver money can help you claim financial freedom. Joining me today is none other than Lobo Tiggre. Lobo, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be with you.
So can you give us the latest in the silver squeeze saga? According to sources, it's still very much alive, but how do you see it? And do you think, well, you know what, let's start there. How do you see this whole situation?
Two general remarks. One is, my sort of more positive one would be, I see it as a very exciting beginning. I think it's awesome that this happened at all. I think it's a pity that the Wall Street Bets moderators kicked the silver guys off. It seems to me that the idea of Reddit is that you should be able to, vote ideas up and vote ideas down. And if the Wall Street Bets community had not liked the silver idea and voted it down, then that should have happened rather than kicking them off. But that did have the unintended consequence of getting them to set up Wall Street Silver, which last I saw had 30,000 strong community, which to go from nothing to 30,000 members in a few days is dramatic growth. And people are posting information, they're involved, they're excited. I think I can't see any way you can call that anything but good and positive for the space.
Absolutely. I think in a big way as well, there's been such an emphasis on maybe blockchain assets and even traditional finance assets like the Wall Street Bets. And this probably exposed a whole new audience in some respects to the precious metals market.
I think so. That said, I'm a fundamentalist. I'm a hard metal guy. I'm a hard money advocate. I don't think silver needed Wall Street Bets or any help from anybody other than the fundamentals anyway. Mm-hmm. So it was a great tailwind, and the fact that it went up to 30 and got a lot of people's eyeballs on it, fantastic. That it gave that back and went back down again, not a problem, not a big deal. I don't know how far down the rabbit hole you want to go, but we've got silver as a monetary metal, which it still is, which is fundamentally bullish case with all the money printing, the monetary and fiscal policy. And then you've got silver as both a traditional industrial metal and an energy metal now, vital to this whole new green paradigm. So, I mean, it's just, we didn't need Wall Street Bets to jump on the silver short squeeze. And I don't know if the shorts, the famous, infamous shorts in the silver market are ever forced out or not. But I think my take is very bullish on silver without that happening at all. It's not necessary. It'd be a welcome tailwind.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see your logic in that. And, it's interesting to hear that you view it, you see the value of it as both an energy metal, an industrial metal, and as a monetary metal. Many of the people I speak to, for example, believe that it is one or the other, but not both. So that's great to hear. From individuals, for example, like Newmeyer, we've heard the call for like triple digit silver. Do you think that's a realistic expectation in the near future?
I love and hate that question because it sounds so crazy, so arm waving. Oh, it's going to the sky, right?
When Lambo, when moon, yeah.
Right. So the answer is sort of yes and no. I actually do think we'll see triple digit silver. I don't know that it'll stay there. When these things spike and they go crazy, I could see that. We have, if you look at the past silver highs and you adjust them for inflation, that takes you to triple digit silver just to get to equaling the past all-time highs. Yeah. And we've seen gold beat its past all-time highs, nominally at least, but not yet silver. Silver barely has gotten halfway there. And that's not bad. That's normal. Anybody who's been following this market for a while knows that silver always lags gold. In every single monetary metals bull market since 1971, when Tricky Dick closed the gold window, right? Yeah. Every single one, silver has lagged gold and then eventually not only caught up, but on a percentage gain basis, more than caught up with gold every single time. So either silver has a lot higher to go, or this bull market is different from every other one in the last 50 years.
Well, I mean, 2020 was a wild year, so I wouldn't be surprised if you know what I mean, if it was an anomaly. That said, really great insight all around, and we've spoken now quite a bit on silver. Given all the recent action, how are you seeing the landscape for gold right now? And is there energy left still in gold, or what are your thoughts
Yeah,
there?
it's so funny how sentiment driven the gold market is. And the particularly perverse thing about it is that if gold prices are rising, everybody's happy, happy, joy, joy. But if they're not rising, even if they're great, I mean, we're stuck at 1,800. Are you kidding me? $1,800 an ounce? That's a fantastic gold price. Any gold mine worth building that's built now. I mean, these mines were built with 1,300 in mind. You know, maybe an aggressive number would have been 1,400.
Hmm.
1,800 is a great number, but no, that's not good enough. If gold isn't rising, then we're, miserable, and gold's being manipulated and all these terrible things are happening. I just, I love my fellow gold bucks, but, kind of get a grip. 1,800 bucks is a great price.
Be grateful for
So
what you have to an extent.
that said, I get it. I understand it's retreated, and that's no fun. But the fundamentals haven't changed, and I'm a fundamentalist. And here's the thing: you have lots of drivers and lots of complicating factors, but the number one, most powerful, most explanatory factor in gold prices is real rates. And again, you can look at the data for the last 50 years. I just put out a new chart on this at independentspeculator.com. It's the first article on the homepage. You can see, the relationship, the inverse relationship between real rates and gold is very, very strong. And if you zoom in, you look in the last 10 years, it's almost like one of those mirror images, those ink blots, the up and down with the gold and the real rates is strong. And so we have negative real rates, and we have real rates getting more negative. And very specific to the market right now, my fellow gold bugs out there, this mistake that mainstream investors are making of seeing the long end of the yield curve rising and saying, oh, rates are going up, that's bad for gold. It's a mistake. That's real rates are not rising, and the Fed will not let them rise. And we know that. So don't get distracted by the long bond. And I think ultimately, if push comes to shove, the Fed will have to step in with some yield curve control there. I hate making bold predictions, but I just don't see that they have any choice. If the signs of inflation get the bond vigilantes or would-be vigilantes to push bonds yields up, the Fed is going to have to step in because they can't lose control of rates, and they can't have that appearance of higher rates stifling the economy at a time where they're more worried about jobs and so on. So I really think that I understand why people look at the nominal rates and the current long bond rates rising and have a knee-jerk reaction to it. But the ball to keep your eye on is real rates. Those remain negative. They're going more negative. You've got to adjust for inflation. And so more inflation is not bearish for gold. More inflation is bullish for gold.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. And I mean, a huge section of our community is in line with your logic on this. So it's great to have that validated by you. Now, now we've spoken at great length about the metals, and of course, there's also now this player of blockchain cryptocurrency assets, and I'd like to get your thoughts on those as well. On the recent rise and rally of Bitcoin, you've said before that you have mixed feelings on cryptocurrencies, and I saw in a past interview with Daniela over at Stansberry, you said you were having troubles with crossing over. Given the fact that we basically flew up to 60K and we corrected a little bit. Have you changed your mind on this subject at all, or is it basically you still feeling conflicted over it?
Short answer, no. But I should frame this by saying that I really want everybody to be very clear on this, that I am not hostile or anti-Bitcoin or cryptos at all. I really think that there should be separation of money and state for the same reason that there should be separation of church and state. I believe in separation of economy and state. And money is central to that. It's just too important to trust to these profligate politicians and their appointees. I think it's ridiculous to imagine that some appointee is somehow isolated or above the political process.
Yeah, I couldn't agree
So
more with you on that. Generally,
so
historian.
I see cryptos as a market response to government mismanagement of money
Hmm.
supply. I'm all for it. And may the market decide. May the best form of money win. Now, some of my Bitcoin friends say it's like the one ring of power of Sauron, one ring to rule them all, and it's going to be Bitcoin. It's going to be Bitcoin in the end. It will consume all other forms of currency. I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure that it has to be. If it was so, I'd be fine with that. And but does that mean I need to buy Bitcoin now because 30 years from now, Bitcoin will be the only money in the world? No. I mean, it can go up, it can go down. We've seen it go up after the halvings. We've seen it go down after it goes up. As a speculator, as a speculator, my job is to look at the odds and look at what I think is going up and going down. And so the fact that something has gone up to 50,000, the fact the price is rising is actually a barrier for me. I don't want to jump on the bandwagon and buy something at the top. And I'm not saying it is the top. I'm just saying I'm trying to look at the odds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I
the
mean,
price
it makes
movement
sense.
alone does not make me want to buy. Sorry, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of a great point. So the price moving alone doesn't make you want to buy. What does make you want to buy then?
So the only crypto I've actually bought was some Ethereum, and I made a bunch of money on it. Actually, it was a small position with some play money. But at the time, I was persuaded by the use case. Bitcoin was already running into the slowness of processing issues. And at the time, there was a use case for Ethereum as a better form for actual transactions and as a building block for tools, as opposed to just a limited supply thing out there. And now that seems to not be the case either. Now, maybe it's Dogecoin. I don't know.
Oh,
But a firm use case rooted in reality. Like, people like to dismiss gold as just a pet rock, right? Warren Buffett calls it a pet rock, and the dump gold people like to say, "Oh, it has no actual use." That's actually untrue. Gold does have a use. It is used in jewelry, and people like to dismiss that. Oh, they could use something else, but in fact, they don't. People like gold jewelry, and it has industrial uses. It has not as many industrial uses as silver, but it actually is a consumable that is necessary for some things. If you happen to be a fusion researcher and you need a crucible to smash atoms together with laser beams, you actually need a gold crucible for that. So it has a use case in the real world, and it is one of the 92 naturally occurring elements. It has specific properties that no other element has. I would love to see something like that tied to a crypto in a really solid way. That would make me much more happy. As a person who believes in the separation of money and state, that's actually been a problem with the idea of the gold-backed cryptos. And I know that LODE's working on this, but if the concept was, okay, we have the power of blockchain and distributed ledger technology and all this stuff, and we're gonna back it with gold that has this real-world value. That's great. Well, that it seems to undermine part of the beauty of the whole crypto system is that it's decentralized, can't be shut down by governments. There's no place you can go and shut Bitcoin down. But if you have Bitcoin gold and there's a deposit of, in a warehouse somewhere full of gold, well, the government can go shut that down or seize it. So it makes the distributed technology idea vulnerable to real world hacks. So
that
I'm
is a
going on too long
fantastic.
to answer your question,
No,
but I'm
no,
saying
no,
that
no. It's
a
great.
wedding of these two things could be positive, but only within the existing regulatory system. Like, it would have to be government approved, because an outlaw Bitcoin gold, it wouldn't do any better, I think, than Norfed or eGold or any of these other things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you raised a lot of really good points, and these are realistically some of the challenges that projects like LODE face. Part of the solution is having a distributed gold supply, not having it all in one spot. So one government can say, "Hey, we're going to take everything," right? So it's about diversification in a sense. And beyond that, I do think you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's about working with regulators, so that you're not coming hard and fast, and you're giving them more of a frog in boiling water metaphor. than just firing buckshot at the wall. Kind of like, for example, it doesn't even have to be a gold or commodity backed asset to have this happen. It's very similar to what we saw with Facebook when they tried to launch Libra, right? Everybody
Right.
panicked, regulators panicked, and they're like, absolutely not, right? And buried them under, um,
Yeah, that's a perfect example. So the anarchist in me wants to say, "Oh no, don't get in bed with the government." Separation of money and state. But I think the reality is, from starting where we are in the world where the state is involved in economy and money, if you're going to make a broad-based system that has widespread usage, you're going to have to work within the existing social and governmental structure. I just don't see how you get there otherwise. Other than say Bitcoin, right, which can be done completely without any regulatory help at all.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
just a pure
Bitcoin.
theoretical, digital asset. Sorry, go
Absolutely.
ahead.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've unpacked a lot today, Lobo, and I'm super grateful that you took the time to come on the show. We are reaching the end of the episode. I'd love to get some final thoughts from you. Any closing word for our community members before we wrap up?
Boy, last minute words of wisdom.
Yes.
You can stop by the website. Lots of free stuff on there. I do not spam people who sign up for a free weekly email. And there's lots more, and all of these things we're talking about there. But my one thing I would say, given who we're talking to here, is FOMO is always bad. And FOMO is never a reason to buy. Yeah, okay, I'm a fundamentalist. Yeah, I'm a speculator too. I'm willing to swing for the bleachers. But based on trends, I can get my wolf claws into, right? Get my fangs into. I can see this is how this is going. Not just, and it's never just, oh, the price is going up, I'm going to buy some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much once again for joining us. For those of us listening on audio only today, what website is best to connect with you and sign up for your newsletter?
Independentspeculator.com.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on LODE Pay Media today. Once again, if this is your first time joining us and you like what you heard today, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and check out lodepay.com to learn how the power of modern gold and silver money can help you claim financial freedom. Take care, guys.